So welcome Shweta once again, and you wanted to begin the evening with the chanting of mantra.
Okay, everyone, please close your eyes, fold your hands, and let's start this session with a mantra. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Mritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from unreal to real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace.
So my first question to you, Shweta, that how did the idea of writing down this book emerge? How have you structured the chapters, and what are the different chapters about?
Okay. So, Smita, after the death of my brother, Sushant, I went to several months of solitary retreat and with only two things in mind and heart. First, the pain of losing my dear brother in such a tragic way. And secondly, the faith I had in spirituality. I knew that spiritual tools can really heal and help. So I went to this solitary retreat. So it's like a small cabin in 540 acres of California hills. And you are supposed to be alone in that cabin without any network, without any people around. Just sit by yourself and spend those hours meditating and trying to figure out what exactly is this pain, is this suffering that we go through in life, right? And from there, this strong vision, the strong strength that came up was that we all suffer because we identify with our body and mind. We identify with this little egoic self. But in reality, we are the awareness that is watching this egoic self playing in us. The chatter, the incessant chatter in our mind. We are the awareness that is watching. So with this understanding, an openness came. And that openness basically gave rise to this thought that, oh my God, there are so many people who suffer, who face loss of a loved one. And I could understand that pain, and I could understand how it feels. It feels like an open wound. And there is a way out. We generally also suffer, We face this certain amount of anxiety, this restlessness is always there in us. And, it is because of the feeling of separateness that we feel. We always feel, I am this body, mind. I am Shweta. I am separate from Atulji, Smita, everybody else. And that produces a lot of anxiety in us. Because in reality, we are the awareness in which all of this is rising, and we are not separate from whatever is projected by this mind. Okay, imagine what happens in dream state. In dream, you see a whole world out there, right? You see a tree, you see desert, you become something in your dream, right? And then you interact with everyone else in the dream. But it is actually the projection of your own mind. You are not separate from anything else. But when you are in dream, you feel separate from others. Don't you do that? Right? But when you get up after that dream, you know that it was all your projection. This world is almost the same. That is what is mentioned in our scriptures, in our Vedanta. We are Brahman and we are not separate from others. All of this is us. You actually get into that kind of state when you are meditating and you start to heal. You basically start to heal from this egoic identity you're carrying. So, okay, so I have a very organized kind of mind. So I've structured the book the same. So I start with introduction. In introduction, I talk about our background, our family background, then how I dealt with loss of losing my mother, my brother, and the spiritual experiences I have had over years. And then starts the first chapter. In first chapter, I talk about the science of pain and trauma. Then in second chapter, I talk about, look, pain is inevitable. All of us will face pain, but suffering is optional. We need not suffer because of that pain. I talk about that. I talk about recognizing the problem. Why do we suffer? In the third chapter, I discuss about what is the solution. So in our Vedanta, we come across 4 yogas. Who can tell me what are the 4 yogas? Anybody? So, Karma Yoga, Raj Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. So I was talking about the 4 yogas. So first one is Bhakti Yoga. What do we do with Bhakti Yoga? Bhakti Yoga is when we understand that we are not the doer. Like right now also, whatever thoughts are coming to our mind, is it us thinking or is it happening through a higher power? If I tell you right now, what will be your next thought? Do you know it? No, right? Anything can come to your mind. So how do we say that we are the thinker? And more so, how do we say that we are the doer? Right? Understanding that there is a higher power working through us. That is bhakti. When you kind of give every emotion, every thought, every action back to God. That is real. You know, it's like catharsis. You basically, you're working on the emotional level. You are giving, so you get purified. Your emotional body gets purified. That is Bhakti Yoga. Karma Yoga is, mostly we are always so stuck in our mind, so stuck with our personal identity, the ego self. We are always thinking how to gratify this ego self, instead of thinking that what can we do for others? What service can we provide to others? Look, for me, I'm an introvert. This is definitely not my cup of tea, you know, sitting and talking to others. But I did write this book. I'm sitting here and talking to you guys because I felt that this is my service to the world. I went through the kind of pain that was, even when I start to talk about it, I get emotional. But I knew the story, my story could help others. My learning could help others. The healing process I went through could help others. That's why I wrote this book. And I'm sitting here today doing this, you know, my bit of service. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Then comes, and what do we basically get? We basically purify our physical body. When we engage in action, doing service for others, we purify our physical body. So with bhakti, we were purifying our emotional body. With service, we purify our physical body. Now with Raj Yoga, when we sit quietly with our mind, concentrated on one thought, we are purifying our mental body. Okay? And then comes the Gyan Yoga. Gyan Yoga is the highest yoga. It's considered the highest yoga. Once a person is completely evolved, their intellect also gets sharpened. And when your intellect gets sharpened, you're very logical, okay? And with that sharp intellect, you can basically understand Vedanta. You can basically understand your real self as awareness, much apart from the ego self that you carry in everyday life. Okay? So those are the 4 yogas I talk about in the solution chapter. And then comes the 4th chapter, and it's about how to be a sthit pragya. Krishna talks about sthit pragya, how to be a man of stabilized wisdom. So once you have found through these 4 yogas that you are not the egoic self, but the awareness behind, right? How to stabilize with that awareness, how to disconnect from this incessant thinking. Okay, so that's the man of stabilized wisdom. That's the 4th chapter. And in the 5th chapter, I talk about the result. Once you basically understand that you are the awareness, a lot of love starts to flow through you, unconditional love, because you don't feel the sense of separateness from others. And that is when you can actually unconditionally love everyone. So that's
Is it like really possible, Shweta, to love everybody unconditionally? See, there are people, obviously after आपके साथ जो ट्रेजेडी हुई, जो हम सब के साथ हुई, obviously हम उसका छोटा पार्ट है. आप सुशांत के साथ जन्मी हैं, उनके साथ बड़ी हुई हैं, एक एक लम्हा आपने उनके साथ जिया है. और बहुत सारे लोग आवाज़ उठाते हैं कि आप तो आपको क्या पता, जो दर्द उनका है वो आपका नहीं है. तो मुझे बहुत फ़नी लगती है ये बात कि कैसे उनका दर्द आपके दर्द से ज़्यादा हो सकता है. और क्योंकि आप कंपोज वे में पब्लिक में आती हैं, क्योंकि आपने अपने आप को बिकॉज ऑफ दिस इंटायर जर्नी यू हैव गॉन थ्रू इतना स्टेबलाइज और इतना काम कर लिया है कि आई एम श्योर द ओशन इज़ देयर इनसाइड यू, बट यू नेवर कम अक्रॉस स्पीकिंग एनीथिंग नेगेटिवली. You have never come across dividing people. So how do you do this? I'm sure there are plenty of people every day जो आपको poke करते होंगे कि ऐसे करो, ऐसे मत करो, this is right, this is not right, right? Yeah. So how do you do it?
Smita, as I told you, when you are practicing, right? When you know what spiritual, all these spiritual studies have given me this idea that actually I'm not this little self. I am consciousness, and in that consciousness, whatever is rising, I am all of it. Either I'm none of it or I'm all of it, right? So this love flows anyway, right?
So that is why I remember one conversation with you when we were talking and you were saying about some person, and I said, no, I don't like that person, and you were like, you are practicing something where you're supposed to be loving everybody. Moving on to my next question, Shweta. So we spoke about, obviously, the enlightenment you went through. वो कैसे हुआ आपको इस एज में, ये मुझे अभी डिटेल में बाद में आपसे जानना है. इसके बारे में मुझे वाकई में आपसे सीखना है कि कैसे सब चीज़ों को साइड में रखकर मैं को जो आपने हटाया है वो हटाना शायद इस जगह पे जितने भी लोग हैं सबको सीखना है. आपने किताब में अपनी बहुत खूबसूरत बॉन्डिंग्स की बात की है विथ रानी दी, विथ योर मॉम, विशाल, एंड ऑफ कोर्स सर सुशांत, द गुड़िया गुलशन बॉन्ड विच यू स्पोक अबाउट. ये सारे आपकी ज़िंदगी के अहम लोगों से आपकी बॉन्डिंग के बारे में मैं जानना चाहूँगी सबसे पहले.
Sure. So Mama was the sweetest lady and the simplest person you would have come across ever. And you know, she taught us how to have faith in God. She taught us how to, you know, dream, like have unlimited dreams. She taught us to understand that there is nothing impossible. And we knew that we could achieve anything and everything, she being the wind beneath our wings. And, you know, whatever we did so that we could bring a smile on her face. And in 2002, she passed away. We were hardly 17 and 18 at that time. Bhai was 17, I was 18. And Mama passed away. And it was like, the very ground of our existence was taken away from us. And we didn't know why should we do whatever, like whatever dream we had, we didn't know why to fulfill it now. Because, we couldn't bring pride to her. She was gone. She was gone. And I cannot explain you, I was in during that time. And it was my first year of college. And I was told that Mama is in coma. And it was my very first semester. There was exams going on. And Didi told me, Mama is still in coma. Mama had passed away by that time. But Didi told me that Mama is still in coma. You finish your exam and then come. And I remember when that happened, I had an experience where I was lying down in the bed, and it was like almost like lucid dreaming, where I saw Kali Ma coming and with her tongue outside all red and stuff. And I was lying down on the bed, and she came and she took something from my heart. Like she went inside and took something from my heart, and I stood up like this. And I knew something has happened. At that time, my mom had passed away. Though I didn't know that she has passed away, this experience told me that. Yeah. So it was definitely a very, very tough experience. And I remember in NIFT, I would go to the terrace and I'll howl and cry so that this pain could leave me. And then with my brother, the same thing got repeated again, and with so much, like the magnitude was so much higher, right? So बहुत ज़्यादा painful था, और with the media outpour और जिस तरीके से इसको coverage मिला, it was so difficult to heal from that. क्योंकि जब भी heal करना शुरू करो, अच्छा सोचो आपको चोट लगी, if there is a wound there, right? If somebody keeps scratching that all the time, would it ever heal? Nahin na, it won't heal. So I took, mentally I made this kind of commitment that I'm going to heal from this. This is not fine. Because, at times what I would feel like, even when I was like sleeping रात में, ऐसा लगता था कि किसी ने चेस्ट पे एक बड़ा सा बोल्डर रख दिया है, and my heart will start sinking. And I was like, what is this? What is happening? I had to like kind of bang my chest so that I could cry and that grief could leave me. तो मैंने सोच लिया था खुद से कि मतलब मुझे इसको heal definitely करना है. इसीलिए I took this whole journey of solitary retreat, 4 months of solitary retreat, एकदम अकेले, where I'm not kind of, bombarded with all these news, somebody reminding me that, क्या चल रहा है अभी. क्योंकि अगर जब तक ये चलता रहता है ना, तब तक healing नहीं है possible. बार बार कोई scratch कर रहा है, और with everything that happened, we didn't know exactly what has happened. Imagine not finding that closure, how it would make you feel, right? At least अगर पता चल जाता है ना कि क्या हुआ, तो तुम फिर भी heal कर सकते हो. Not finding the closure was the most difficult part. And thank you, sir, for doing your part, doing your bit. Thank you.
Moving on to the same topic which I have asked you, Shweta. आपकी bonding with your mom, and moving on to Rani Di now.
After my mother, she was our second mother. She took care of everything, even the finances, भाई को पढ़ाना and everything दीदी ने take care किया. और बचपन में she actually instilled in us the sense of adventure, the sense of exploration. तो ये जो space का हम लोग में है ना, एक right explore करने का, वो दीदी से ही आया है.
Oh really?
Yeah, and the interest in science and physics and everything that has come from Didi.
Wow.
So yeah, that was Randi, and I love her the most.
So
she's
I'm
very
sure
spiritual
जब सुशांत नासा वाला project करने वाले थे, चंदा मामा दोस्त, she must be the most excited.
Yes,
that
yes,
time.
yes.
Wow. Because now not only NASA का प्रोजेक्ट वो करने वाले थे ऑन नासा. ही वांटेड टू डू अ फिल्म, अतुल जी. बट सुशांत इज़ द ओनली बॉलीवुड सेलिब्रिटी जिसने अपने खर्चे पे धारावी से बच्चों को सेलेक्ट किया था और उन बच्चों को नासा भेजा था ट्रेनिंग के लिए. एंड ही वांटेड टू कंटिन्यू डूइंग दिस ऑन हिज ओन. सो आई एम श्योर ये सारा मम्मी से और रानी दी से और आप सब से आ रहा था कि कुछ करना है. He was not only for himself. He was all for.
He was a very pure-hearted person.
Yeah.
He wanted to do for others.
Right.
And that was his goal. He got into the film industry so that he can entertain others.
Right.
Make them happy.
Right, which he did.
Yeah.
Which he did.
Yeah.
You can see the places he's actually created in everybody's heart, and so many more outside. Okay, उनकी बात हम जानना चाहेंगे आपके डैड के साथ, जो बहुत ही मुझे सीधे मालूम होते हैं. Like he's a very, you know.
Yeah, he's a Rajput, real Rajput.
Okay.
तो वो basically हमें सिखाते थे courage. ठीक है, चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए, we are bigger than our problems, right? तो चाहे like even what we went through was not easy, right? But dad कभी break down नहीं किए, कभी break down नहीं किए. He always showed us his stronger side. तो उनसे हम लोग ये लर्न करते हैं.
वो मैंने देखा है, क्योंकि बहुत सारे जो शुभचिंतक है वो उनसे मिलने जब जाते हैं तो उल्टा अंकल उनको काउंसलिंग देने लगते हैं कि ऐसे नहीं करते, मूव ऑन करो, कुछ लाइफ में करो. तो वो लोग अचंभित हो जाते हैं कि अपना दुख की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं वो.
बट ही वेंट थ्रू अ बाईपास सर्जरी. कहते हैं ना ब्रोकन हार्ट सिंड्रोम जो होता है, ही वेंट थ्रू दैट.
Right.
But then still he stayed strong for all of us.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure he does, and hats off to him, seriously, because surviving all this, what you all are, I don't know what it takes. You know, it's first of its kind of a tragedy. It's kind of a trauma, Shweta. उसके लिए कोई examples नहीं होंगे कभी भी शायद कि कैसे क्या होता है.
बहुत difficult है स्मिता, बहुत difficult है. और जब भी कुछ नया news आता है तो it's almost like putting a spear inside your chest and then twisting and turning. It's like, oh my God, right? Just हम लोग को बता दो कि हुआ क्या है. We just want to know what has happened. That's all, right? हम लोगों ने कितना मेहनत से CBI को लाया, right? We did work so hard to get CBI on board, and now we are still hopeful that CBI will tell us what has happened, right? 3.5 years हो गए हैं, अभी तक नहीं पता क्या हुआ.
Anyways, I'm sure CBI अपनी कुछ लास्ट जो भी हैं फाइल्स उनको क्लोज करें और एक लॉजिकल एंड पर इसको पहुंचाएं. तो हमारे जैसे जो मिलियंस लोग हैं जो अभी तक सोच रहे हैं, या बहुत सारी जो अफवाहें लोगों में है, वो उन सबको एक विराम मिले, उन सबको एक एंड मिले.
जी जी.
So now moving on to happier subject, your brother.
Yeah.
And your bonding, the Gudiya Gulshan bonding, I have read कि बहुत प्यार भी था और बहुत झगड़ा भी होता था आप दोनों में. और
झगड़ा तो नहीं, but mostly like you know हम लोग एक साल अपार्ट थे.
Right.
तो वो एनिमल्स जैसे नहीं लड़ते इस तरह से, उस तरह से लड़ते थे.
Right.
बट बहुत प्यार था. हम लोग सब कुछ साथ में करते थे. सुबह उठने से लेके, खाने से लेके, स्टडीज़ करने से लेके, खेलने से लेके, सोने, everything we used to do together. And we were so much together that people had forgotten that we were two identities, two different, separate people. They used to call us Gudiya Gulshan. Gudiya is my nickname, right. And Gulshan was his. और हमेशा हमें साथ में ही बुलाते थे. तो टीन एज तक तो हम लोग हमेशा ही साथ रहे, जब तक वो दिल्ली नहीं मूव कर गया था अपने 11th और 12th ग्रेड के लिए. और फिर उसके बाद मेरी शादी हुई और फिर हम बहुत रोए एक दूसरे को पकड़ के. उसके बाद वी ऑफ कोर्स प्रॉमिस्ड कि हम लोग मिलेंगे एक दूसरे से ऑल द टाइम. एंड आई वाज ऑलवेज वेरी प्रोटेक्टिव अबाउट हिम बिकॉज यू नो मॉम डैड ने कहा था कि मॉम डैड ने बहुत पूजा किया था टू हैव हिम एज द सन. क्योंकि राजपूत फैमिली में एक तो सन इम्पॉर्टेंट होता है. मॉम डैड के सबसे पहले बच्चे वॉज अ सन, और वो ही हैड पास्ड अवे 2-3 साल में ही. तो मॉम डैड ने बहुत प्रे किया था टू हैव अ सन. और मेरे बाद 1 साल के बाद भाई हुआ,
राइट।
तो ही वॉज लाइक माई पिठिया, कहते हैं ना। और मॉम डैड हमेशा बोलते थे कि तुम्हारे वजह से ये आया है इस वर्ल्ड में, सो आई वॉज वेरी प्रोटेक्टिव अबाउट हिम। तो जैसे कभी भी कोई भी उसका बिल्कुल थोड़ा भी शिकायत करता था ना, तो आई यूज्ड टू बी लाइक नहीं नहीं, भाई इज द बेस्ट, उनके बारे में कुछ नहीं बोलिए। And
you had a very nice last conversation with him. You invited him to US.
हाँ, 10th जून को, पता नहीं मुझे अंदर से बहुत स्ट्रांगली आ रहा था। मैंने भाई को मैसेज किया था कि भाई प्लीज़ कम हियर टू कैलिफोर्निया, हम लोग हाइक्स पे जाएंगे, हम गेम्स खेलेंगे, यहाँ पे मैं किसी को बताऊंगी नहीं, सो दैट यू डोंट हैव टू मीट अदर्स। और वो जो एक प्रेशर होता है ना, कहीं पे भी जा रहे हैं तो मिल रहे हैं एंड ऑल, वो सब प्रेशर नहीं रहेगा। वील स्पेंड टाइम टुगेदर एंड ऑल।
और उसको पसंद था ये एक आम आदमी की तरह जाना,
हाँ,
ताकि वो मॉब न हो।
हाँ, वो भी इंट्रोवर्ट था मेरी तरह।
राइट।
तो हम इंट्रोवर्ट्स के लिए ये बहुत सारे लोग और इंटरेक्शन बहुत ज़्यादा स्टिमुलेशन हो जाता है, तो या
राइट। सो आपकी जो किताब है उसका एक हाईलाइट मैंने देखा है, कन्वर्टिंग योर पेन इनटू योर बिगेस्ट स्ट्रेंथ। बहुत चैलेंजिंग है ये, बहुत चैलेंजिंग है। बोलना बहुत आसान है श्वेता, लेकिन इसको प्रैक्टिकली करना
बहुत मुश्किल है।
हाँ, मुझे लगता है नामुमकिन है शायद, बट हाँ आप कुछ कोशिश कर सकते
तो कुछ भी नहीं है, जैसे मम्मा ने कहा था, नथिंग इज इम्पॉसिबल।
मुझे तो आपसे सीखना है एक्चुअली, सीरियसली। तो ये जो हाईलाइट आपने किया है कि कन्वर्टिंग योर पेन इनटू योर बिगेस्ट स्ट्रेंथ, हाउ हैव यू कन्वर्टेड योर पेन इनटू योर बिगेस्ट स्ट्रेंथ एंड व्हाट इज दैट स्ट्रेंथ, इफ यू वुड लाइक टू शेयर?
तो देखो स्मिता, एक्चुअली पेन, देखो हम लोग सब पेन फेस करते हैं लाइफ में, सफ़र करते हैं, राइट? बट हम उससे थोड़े नेगेटिव हो जाते हैं, उसको लेके एंगर आता है, फियर आता है, बट कभी उसको इस तरह से वेकअप कॉल की तरह से हमें लेना चाहिए, राइट? सो दैट वी कैन आस्क डीपर क्वेश्चंस ऑफ लाइफ। Why are we here? What is death? Right? What is the purpose of life? Then when we kind of inquire into all that, and then when we inquire into who am I, we are searching for this. All our life we are searching to find meaning, attach meaning to this who am I, by making something of ourselves, right? Right? We run after money, we run after fame, we run after power, we run after worldly knowledge. Why do we do that? Why do we do that? Because we think that this will give us some kind of satisfaction, some kind of joy, right? But do we find it there? अगर फेम मिल जाता है तो दूसरे दिन लगता है कि ओहो ये फेम चला जाएगा। मनी मिल जाता है तो मनी को कैसे इन्वेस्ट करना है टू कीप इट ग्रोइंग, कुछ ना कुछ हमेशा लगा रहता है। तो डिज़ायर के फुलफिलमेंट के बाद फियर आता है, राइट? और डिज़ायर जब तक नहीं होता है तब तक एंगर फील होता रहता है, राइट? तो ये फाइंड करना कि हु एम आई इज़ द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन। और जब हम, हाँ बोलिए।
आपने जो बात कही, ये मुझे एक सुशांत का भी फ्रेज़ याद आ गया, पता है आपको पता भी नहीं होगा शायद ये, और बहुत सारी बातें ऐसी है कि उसने जब मर्सिडीज़ खरीदी थी तो मुझे उनके एक क्लोज़ फ्रेंड है, उन्होंने फ़ोन पे बताया था कि उसने कहा कि देख मैं मर्सिडीज़ खरीद रहा हूँ यार, ये कल तक है इसका, और कल मुझे लगेगा कि अब इसका मैं क्या करूँ। सो दिस ऑल तो दैट फ्रेंड वांटेड टू बाय द सेम कार, सो ही सेड इसका कोई मतलब नहीं, तू मेरी यूज़ कर ले, बिकॉज मेरे लिए भी कल इसके कोई मायने नहीं होंगे। इमेजिन, एंड यू आर टॉकिंग द सेम थिंग।
यही होता है, हमें जब कुछ चीज़ मिल जाती है तो फिर उसका वैल्यू ख़त्म हो जाता है, और उसके लिए हमने कितना मेहनत किया हुआ होता है। फाइनली हु एम आई, वी हैव टू फाइंड द आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन, एंड वी कैन ओनली फाइंड इट थ्रू स्पिरिचुअलिटी। स्पिरिचुअलिटी से हमें पता चलता है कि दिस आई एम दैट वी कॉल आवरसेल्व्स आई। देखो सब यहाँ पे अपने आप को आई ही बोलता है, मैं। सबका पहला नाम क्या है? मैं, राइट? वो मैं कौन है? क्या मैं ये ही हूँ, ये बॉडी और ये माइंड? इज दिस आई सेपरेट फ्रॉम अदर्स? नहीं, यही स्पिरिचुअलिटी बताता है कि ऐसा नहीं है। जब हम इन्वेस्टिगेट करेंगे ना हु एम आई, तो हम उस तथ्य पे पहुंचेंगे, उस तत्व पे पहुंचेंगे जो हम रियली हैं, तत्वमसि, राइट, अहम ब्रह्मास्मि। तो ये हमें फील होता है, ये हम समझते हैं कि हम कुछ सेपरेट हैं ही नहीं दूसरों से, हम एक ही हैं, वो वननेस फील होता है, राइट। तो ये पेन कैन डू दैट टू यू, इट कैन मेक यू एक्सपीरियंस अ मोर अवेकेंड लाइफ वेयर यू फील लव फॉर एवरीवन.
That you have done miraculously. And honestly, a big round of applause for Shweta Singh Kirti for writing this down. इस किताब को लिखने का एक एक अल्फाज में I'm sure आपका दिल 100 बार shatter हुआ होगा, and still you managed to put it into a book. Trust me, Shweta, it takes a lot. Obviously, your path is obviously much ahead from here. Again, I wish you all the best for that. बट इसको किताब में लिखना और उन लोगों को गाइड करना जब आप ऑलरेडी सफ़र कर रहे हो, बट आप दूसरों के बारे में सोच रहे हो.
I felt it was my responsibility because I got a lot of messages, emails, calls where people told me that they are suffering, they are in pain, they are getting into depression after Sushant's death. Everybody felt so connected to Bhai, so very connected, because he was that pure, you know. He was that pure. Everybody felt like a family, right? तो मुझे समझ में आ रहा था कि what kind of pain they are going through. तो मुझे पता था कि I have to write this book. क्योंकि when I was experiencing, you know, healing, I was like, oh my God, there are so many out there still suffering.
Right, obviously.
That was the reason I wrote this book.
Yeah, and there are different kinds of pains, there are griefs, there are different kind of traumas people go through. And I'm sure this book will help you all and you know others. If you know, please recommend this book because मैंने खुद ये किताब पढ़ी और पढ़ते 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 मैं आधे तक पहुंच चुकी हूँ श्वेता, और बहुत सारी चीज़ों पे मैं फिर से पीछे जाती हूँ बिकॉज बहुत इंटेंस है. राइट, या सो आई एम श्योर जहाँ आप पहुँची हो मैं पहुँच पाऊँगी. आपसे मैं कुछ हीलिंग के लिए गाइडेंस भी लूँगी. बट आई एम श्योर ये कहना आसान है, कुछ लोग यू नो इस तरह के ताने मारने लग जाते हैं, अरे आप तो हील हो गए, अब क्या होगा, जस्टिस का क्या होगा. सो विच इज आई फाइंड इट, यू नो, आई डोंट नो.
मुझे लगता है हील करके ही आप जस्टिस के लिए रियली में डिमांड कर सकते हो. जब तक हील नहीं किया है तब तक तो यू आर एंग्री, यू आर फ्रस्ट्रेटेड. इस तरीके से जस्टिस के लिए डिमांड थोड़ी होता है, और ये नेगेटिव फीलिंग, नेगेटिव एनर्जी सब कुछ और नेगेटिव कर देगी. हमें हील करना है खुद को, फिर भगवान से एकदम प्यार के साथ आगे बढ़ना है कि भगवान देखो, आप जानते हो क्या हुआ है रियली में, प्लीज़ गाइड करो वे, राइट, और प्लीज़ हेल्प करो हमें फाइंड करने में कि क्या सच्चाई है, राइट, और सही सही लोग इस चीज़ से जुड़े और हमें हेल्प करे फाइंड करने में. मुझे लगता है दिस इज़ द राइट वे ऑफ गोइंग फॉरवर्ड. डोंट यू थिंक? डोंट यू थिंक? नहीं, अगर माइंड को स्थिर करके सोचा जाए इस पे कि क्या तरीका है इससे निकलने का, तो लोग समझ सकते हैं, यू नो, कि दिस इज़ द वे आउट. And then I'm not telling that we should not fight for justice. That's where people are getting confused. I'm telling heal first. And then let's keep asking for justice. और अर्नब ने भी बहुत हेल्प किया.
बहुत हेल्प की. अर्नब गोस्वामी was an integral part. Obviously उन्होंने अपने भाई की तरह लड़ा है इस केस के लिए. और आप सभी जिन्होंने लड़ा या कभी भी उनके लिए आवाज़ उठाई है या दिल से प्रे किया है, आप सभी शामिल हैं इसमें. तो ये
थैंक यू एवरीवन, थैंक यू
सो मच.